Channing's Journal, August 24th. September is nearly here again. I did an open mic last night with Brett. He was amazing, but it felt like my performance was a train wreck. I had played those songs earlier and had them down. I could tell that I could sing those songs, but that night stretched on and on. And by the time I got to go on, I was tired and my heart was no longer in it. And they had to plug in my guitar instead of miking it, and they had it loud and brittle. I pretty much just belted out the songs in self-defense, and I felt the melodies were often lost, as they had been with Marie. But Brett told me that he saw it much differently. He said, "Energy. You have a crazy energy." He said something before about how you are somehow better when you play in front of people. I think I shrugged that off until I saw you last night. Your energy really was amazing, even though you stopped 4 times in every song. Work that out and you're golden. Be not thwarted. Brett also told me that I sounded good and that there is something in my voice, something he cannot emulate, so I was feeling much better about it. I guess that's why the next day I sent a note to Marie, telling her of my plans to build my house and then call her. It wasn't long afterward that I began to have those feelings that I should not have contacted her again. Several nights later, he dreamed again of Marie. He woke up oddly in the middle of the dream. Obviously, his subconscious was trying desperately to tell him something. He got up right then at 3 a.m. and wrote down as much of the dream as he could remember. In the dream, there were a few couples who were just going through the motions, who had gotten together to talk about it. He remembered maybe he was pretending that he wasn't just going through the motions. The group was going through some sort of written guide. There was a question about the last time they had written love letters to their partner. It was hard to remember that long ago. There was something about a Snoopy card. The next thing he knew, he was with Marie instead, and like all the dreams before, it was just the two of them. They also appeared to be doing some sort of exercise. He was writing on a blackboard. There was a sofa and chairs, and Marie was sitting in a chair next to him. She was that cool, detached, playful Marie, it seemed. He started to write a song on the blackboard. He was creating the lyric as he wrote. Marie liked the wordplay and the gentle philosophical overtones and the pretty poetry, the non-specific platitudes. But suddenly the personal part came, and he could barely write fast enough. As he wrote the words on the board, he also saw images. There was a garden, and in the garden were carrots, which were at first symbolic of fingers. He saw hands with carrots for fingers, but then the carrots were bitten and finally eaten. And as he wrote, he continued to see images of the things he was writing. Most of all, I like to be a carrot in your garden. Most of all, I like to be in your garden. I like the sadness of how it had been. I like the sadness of having and losing your love. I like the sadness of having and losing your love once again. By the time they rip our heart out and sew our skin together like a pillow, by the time they rip our hearts out and fill us with a stuffing as dead as yesterday, it won't matter anyway. Channing got mad that Marie was reading the words as he was writing them. He told her she had to wait until he composed and ordered it, so she went over to the sofa. But a minute later, she turned to him and upset. She said she had read it and could not pretend to him that she had not. Channing had known that she had read it, but he still wanted to finish it to get it right. Before he could finish, though, Marie melted down and ran out of the room, telling him that she had read it already. She ran into her room and shut the door. She was out of reach, and he knew that the damage had been done. What did he expect? He knew she had read it, and he knew she had pretended not to, and he knew it was tearing her apart. He knew that she had at first pretended that it was the hiding of it from me that upset her, but they both knew it wasn't. And he also pretended not to know that. This was a dream he truly woke up in the middle of. He woke before it was over. The last things he remembered were his feelings as he looked at the door that Marie had shut herself behind and thinking about her last words to him. When Channing woke up, he lay there, realizing that he was rapidly forgetting what had happened in the dream and much of the lyric. He quickly got up and hurried to find pen and paper and scrawl down what remained as fast as he could. There had been more to the dream and more to the lyric and more images, but this was all he would remember by the time he could write it down. Did he wake up because it was so emotional or true or uncomfortable? Or because even in that state he knew he must hurry and wake up so he could get up and write it down? His subconscious obviously had seen something important that his conscious did not see or failed to acknowledge, and it had to tell him. The fact that he woke up before the dream was over made him realize that it must have been trying to tell him for some time. He must not have been listening before, and by then it was urgent. It could no longer chance that he'd forget again with the coming day. Before he could get back to bed, he realized something. He thought for the first time just then at 3 in the morning. That cool, detached, playful Marie, that is just who she wanted to be. That's who she wants to be. Who she thinks of herself as, how she likes to see herself, but it is not who she really is. The real Marie is emotional and warm and a little girl and not cool, non-serious, be happy, curious thinker at all. That's just a personality she tried on once, one that seemed to work for her, a coping mechanism, and so she kept it. Oh my gosh. When he lay back down, he realized that in addition, the dream was revealing two other truths to him. First, the way he was and the things he was doing are hurting someone. And that person is pretending they are not, and they are pretending that they don't know. Is it Marie or Rachel or both? The other truth that dream exposed to him was this. That song was the central and repeating story of his life, the basic recurring plot line, the pattern that has guided him all these years, all those years, the myth that he identified with. Nobody said it would be easy, but Channing believed he would sing one day with Marie, his twin. Don't go back. A chalk outline of our love, a fossil of what God made me, a refusal to grow up or to let you save me. Be a boy, embrace my joy, protect what you gave me, fighting the way things work as I've always done. But I know one thing, I know one thing, I know one thing, I know one thing. God loves me and this ain't a game. Heard him say, don't go back the same way you came. I needed a new friend, I guess, all along. It seems to be you that I need. You talked like it hadn't been 3 weeks, and I'd done nothing wrong. I made the decision not to fight, wandered alone 40 years, a wilderness I came to know and like, never turned and fought my fears. But I know one thing, I know one thing, I know one thing, I know one thing. God loves me, and this ain't a game. Heard him say, don't go back the same way you came. Channing Matthews. At the end of August, Channing emailed Marie to tell her he was going to play in Gallatin and he would love for her to come to see him. He told her it would be like an audition. She could see how the house was coming along. On the day of the show, he followed up with a phone call. Marie told him that she would like to come see him, but that she was sick and really tired and didn't think she would be able to make it. Before they hung up, she thanked him for calling. Channing made too much of that. Marie didn't show up, but it was probably for the better. That night just didn't seem to go well at all. One evening, a few days later, he read again in Wild at Heart. Channing seemed to be going lower and lower, with no end in sight. He was thinking about the pain of our wound that the book talked about and feeling sorry for himself. Channing's journal, September 9. You know why it hurt so bad? Because it lasted so long. Because no one said, it's okay. No one said I was okay, not even one. And I've always thought it was my fault. Always felt I deserved it. Thinking about Carrie, as I always do when I think on those times. I don't know why I picked her to save me. Her beauty was like God's beauty. Maybe that's why. And I certainly wanted to be like her. Why did I think she could see inside me and know? Why did I think she would think I was okay? Why? What did I want that first day? I don't know. Later, Carrie, I set you up as the judge of me. If you said I was okay, then I would have been okay. Why? Did the others see you that way? No. Definitely not later, they didn't. At first? I don't think so. So why? I don't know. But in any event, my sadness is far better than anything I could have had. I'll look again and I'll wonder, but I don't have to know. Marie. Why Marie? Intimacy? Is it the same thing my wife wants? Why can't I give it to her then? Why can't I give it to Rachel? Could I really give it to Marie? To anyone? I don't have to give it to Marie. Is that it? I don't know. I'll have to release this also. The desire for intimacy, and in letting it go, my only hope that it will come to be. He was also thinking about the false self that we create as a coping mechanism to protect ourselves, and realized that if he didn't have his false self, a mask, success in the eyes of the world, someone to be who wasn't him, he could not admit to or share any of the bad stuff inside of him or from his past, not even in veiled verse in his songs. Jesse never did. After a while, he put the book down and headed out to the dollar store with the intention of buying some sunglasses and a headband. The kind that girls wear. Channing found a pretty brown leather one with a lighter cloth woven through it. It looked good with his blonde hair. He intended to wear it when no one he knew was around, and on stage when he played his music. When he got back from the store, he thought about all the guilt he was carrying. The weight of my guilt is too heavy for me to bear. Lord, what do you want of me? Channing felt like he should call Marie, drink, and then call her. And he felt like the one was saying, it was okay. He wanted to feel that, of course, but he felt also, right then, it was true. He knew it sounded ridiculous to think the one would be into that. After a while, he went outside, put on the headband, and called her. Hello? Hi, Marie, it's Channing. Hi. She sounded kind of flat. He was afraid that she was upset and he should not have called. Is it okay that I'm calling you? Yeah, I'm just not feeling well. Oh, I'm sorry. I was hoping you were feeling better by now. Want me to call some other time? Would that be okay? Yeah, you can call me sometime and tell me all about the open mic in Gallatin. There's not much to tell. I'm sorry you're sick. Maybe you could go to bed and get Boz to snuggle up to you. Yeah, he's right here. She sounded bad. You might need to go to a doctor and get an antibiotic. Antibiotics lower your immunity. I'm not sure about all that. Whatever the case may be, you might need to go if you don't feel better soon. I have to work tomorrow. I didn't work today. I slept all day. That's like the most important thing you need when you're sick. I never get sick anymore, which is weird because I was pretty sickly as a kid and after. When I feel something coming on, I go to bed. That doesn't work for me. Wow, your cough sounds pretty bad. The only thing that works for that is guaifenesin. But you don't have to take the liquid stuff. The pills work too. I tried that. I'm taking an antihistamine. I don't know. Listen to me. Antihistamines. Well, you have to drink enough water. Antihistamines are work for me. I hate water, so... The call was dropped. He hit the redial button. Hey. Yeah, I hung up on you. Oh. I know myself better than you. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. I'm so mad. You always go too far. I don't mean to. I don't know why I do. I guess it's a control thing. When I think something is going to happen to someone I care about, I feel the need to try and help. I don't need anyone trying to control me. I'm sorry, Marie. I really am. I don't know how to say it any better. I guess if I say I'm sorry but keep doing the same thing, it's hard to believe, but I am sorry. I never wanted to be a downer to you. Maybe you should just block my number. I just need to talk to you sometime when I'm in a better mood. Is it okay if I call you again sometime? Sure. You know you can call me anytime. What's your number? He gave her his number and she repeated it, as though trying to memorize it. They said their goodbyes and hung up. He didn't know what it meant, but he was pretty shaken up about it, full of self-loathing and somewhat suicidal. He thought how Marie had said that Rachel was lucky to have him, and Channing thought she probably didn't think that anymore anyway. You're lucky you aren't married to me and have to deal with me all the time. You have no idea. Channing thought also how just recently Rachel had said, some people are just not meant to be married. You would be happy by yourself. He thought also about the open mics, his music, writing, his life. He accused his God. You have never given me one indication that I'm on the right path, with tears in his eyes and his voice trembling. Maybe you're on the wrong path, was all he heard in response. Channing thought, I hate for this. He tried to break down and cry, but the tears were short-lived. Meant to be alone. I stand here listening to the gurgling of a brook I cannot see, and realize I'm not sad enough for who I'm meant to be. So break my heart, leave me alone. I'll hold out hope till it's past time to go. A child again, I'd grasp the branch of a tree that takes me back. I'd climb it had I more time, and perchance no one would ask. Break my heart again, lead me back to where I'd been. Leave me no hope at all that you'd come back again. Intimacy, my enemy, I don't know why. I overlook the obvious so oftentimes inside. Break my heart, leave me alone. I'll hold out hope till long since you have gone. Break my heart again, lead me back to where I'd been. Leave me no hope at all that you'd come back again. Channing Matthews. When he got home, he went driving with David. Brett had told him the week before that he had been out walking and thought he could hear the one telling him, don't go back the same way you came. He had felt that the one was saying it to him also, through Brett. He asked David what he thought about it. I think it means that you need to cut the loops. Only go on paths, not loops. Wow, that's cool. I wrote a song about those loops called Wow, that's cool. I wrote a song about those loops called Walking in a Circle. When I think about it again, I also think it means that every day should be a new beginning. That night, Channing dreamed again of Marie. They were on a vast stage together. It was a continuation of the dream he had at McKendree Spring. Marie was standing next to him with her guitar. They were playing one of his songs, and he felt comforted and confident. He was aware of the audience, though he could not see them. And there was his band, but he could not see them either. He could not see anyone except for Marie. No one else was near. As they ended the song, the audience, already blurred, became silent and then faded away completely. He turned to look at Marie, and a fog seemed to come over everything. She was not holding a guitar anymore. She was wearing a hooded sweat jacket. The fog lifted a little, and he realized that they were not standing on a stage. They were walking in the grass along a road on a cool fall day. He could not seem to quite focus on her face mentally, but somehow she looked like Carolyn. Still, he knew she was still Marie. and he knew he was dreaming. This is just a dream. Not so much so. He didn't really pay attention to this, and he went on. How do I tell? How do I tell you when we're awake? I can't seem to explain. Things just don't ever go right. They keep going sideways, Marie. I'm not Marie. Did you forget me so soon? He didn't say, what? Yes, you are, or even what do you mean? But I remember you from that dream in the woods. Yes, that was me. Marie? No, I'm not Marie. Then who are you? Who do you think I am? He thought hard, but where he thought that information was to be found seemed to be impenetrable just then. I came to you also long ago. Carrie? Yes. You're Carrie? No. I wanted to be her, he said, as though that had some sort of relevance. No, you wanted to be me again. I don't understand. Why do you think you bought that headband? You know about that? Of course. Who are you? I don't know who you are, even though it seems like I should know. I know that I need to know. I have to know who you are. I must know if I am to... Before she could answer him, he found himself back inside of time. But he knew who she was. A few days later, he got a letter in the mail. It was postmarked a year ago. It must have been lost in the mail. It was from Tom. Apparently, he had sent it before he came down. The envelope was empty, save a black and white snapshot. On the yellowed back, it was written, Jesse, October 1961. It came as no surprise. Sand and ashes. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. The sand runs and I'll be who I must. Same as I was then, what I thought I left behind years and miles ago. It's a beautiful drive with the windows down. A beautiful day for leaving town. Can't escape my fate, leave him far behind. Thought I got away, but it was just the clouds that changed, not me or him. And I am who I am. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. The sand runs and I'll be who I must. Same as I was then, what I thought I left behind years and miles ago. It's a beautiful drive and God smiles down. It's a beautiful day, homeward bound. It's a beautiful drive with the windows down. A beautiful day to leave this town. You looked me up the other day in your old yearbook. I didn't want to see but had to look. That's what I was hiding. That's what's really true. All those years I hid from you. Now I know it flows both ways, the sand, but always leaking through my hands. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. The sand runs and I'll be who I must. Same as I was then, what I thought I left behind years and miles ago. Channing Matthews.